Hey folks, Ray at Rainmaker.com here, and today I've got your GoPro Hero 8 unboxing video. Now this video is pretty straightforward. It's an unboxing, like a proper old school style unboxing, none of this other extra stuff, except I'm going to do a bunch of extra stuff. I'm going to do an entire user interface walkthrough. So I've got a separate video that's my whole Hero 8 review up there in the corner, 18 things to know about the Hero 8. All 18 things are brand new features, all the kind of stuff that you might want up there. But for this video, it's just the unboxing. I've also got a comparison video up there as well that has, I think now 18 different bits of comparison footage. So I've got like 13 bits in the video and then all the things you can download on the Dropbox share. So all that junk is up there, just the unboxing, and I'm gonna walk through the user interface. I'm basically gonna put the camera down in front of me and I'm gonna show you some of the things that I've seen questions come up in my other two videos. I'm gonna actually show you how those work on the camera itself from start to finish. So it might be a little boring, but I think for those of you that are like video geeks, you're probably gonna enjoy it. With that, let's get rolling here. So this is the Hero 8 black box, pretty much just like every past GoPro box. And you've got the contents on the side there. You can see it's got the camera, the battery, the mount to put it in, very similar to the existing mounts, or not similar, exact same as existing mounts. It has the thumb screw, a plate, and the USB-C charging cable. Does not include a micro SD card, so I've got one here that I yanked out of another GoPro. On the back, you can see some stuff about the app, doesn't really matter, and a bunch of specs that you're gonna know because you've seen my 18 things video up in the corner. So we'll go ahead and pop this open. Hold on. I pop it open, I mean maybe. There we go. And slide it on out. Slide it on out without destroying the box ideally, but there we go, camera on top, and then you've got the plate that it sits on top of. Now you can actually use and save this plate, so if you go and just kind of somewhat carefully remove this here, there we go, without destroying the box underneath it, you'll see now you've got a little mini tripod for your GoPro. It's not like super useful because it already will sit by itself without that, but if you're in a windy place, now it'll at least sit more stable. So put this out of the way off the side there. There's the GoPro. It's sitting on this little plastic mount right there that slides into a sticky mount, and it's got its thumb screw right here as well. So go ahead and just take this out of the way and put it right there. Now there's a small little piece of plastic here that says remove. You'll want to remove that because that basically will block the mount from working. So you're gonna just kind of pry it off. There's the GoPro. Inside here is a bunch of junk. So GoPro Plus, that's their $5 a month subscription service. The notable thing on this, not as a sales pitch, just like as an FYI, you get 50% off accessories. So if you're planning on buying accessories, then maybe just subscribe to that for a month or try it for a month for free. You also, if you destroy your GoPro, no questions asked, they'll go ahead and fix it. And the main thing that most people use GoPro Plus for is the ability to upload all their content to the GoPro cloud, and you can then download it and save it there and all that jazz. There's a little manual to tell you how to plug in your camera to USB-C. There is a card here that tells you what to do if you need help in a bunch of languages. There's 2 GoPro stickers to put on your pet turtle or small child. And then we have a product safety manual thing, which the usual, but especially in GoPro's case, this is pretty applicable. If you kill yourself, it is definitely not GoPro's fault, though you were probably trying to get the footage on your GoPro, so it probably actually was kind of sort of GoPro's fault that, you know, pushed you down that direction. Okay, moving that out of the way, we have the new battery. So this battery is almost identical to the existing batteries, and by almost it means it looks identical, it smells identical, all that jazz. Here is an existing battery. You'll see they are virtually identical. They have the exact same specs on the side, bottom, there it is right here, except for the fact that in certain HyperSmooth 2.0 modes on the Hero 8 Black, you need the blue battery in order to those modes to work correctly. I haven't actually run into that in my testing over the last month, but I trust GoPro's probably correct in what they're saying here. Otherwise, you can swap these batteries back and forth, no problem. You can use a Hero 8 battery in a Hero 5, 6, and 7, or use a Hero 5, 6, and 7 battery in a Hero 8. You can also use third-party batteries. I've used a few different ones without any issues in the Hero 8 as well. Oh, a quick note from the future part of this video. If you're finding this video interesting, now's a really great time to whack that like button. It really helps out the video and the channel quite a bit. So let's move this guy back out of the way here. Plastic bag, USB-C charger, the mount as I mentioned. This is a curved mount, so not a flat mount. GoPro's getting a bit cheaper on this. They used to include a flat and a curved mount. Now it's just the curved mount, so like put that on a helmet or something like that. And then here we have the GoPro unit itself. So on this side, you have the mode button to turn it on. On the other side, there's no other buttons except there is the new door. So you put your finger down there, you hope you don't break it, and then you open this up. And now this one just popped off, but that's fine. It is designed to pop off. And then you slide the battery inside here. But first, before we do that, we grab this micro SD card and slide that in the slot right there. It's virtually impossible to get that micro SD cards out unless you use a pokey thing when the battery's in there. So it's not an awesome design. In fact, I actually really hate this design for exactly that reason. Snap it back in place. On the bottom is the new mounting case. This is probably the biggest deal from a hardware standpoint on the Hero 8 Black. This replaces the need to have a separate frame. So if you look at the GoPro Hero 7 Black right here, close that back up. This used to have to go in the case like this, close it on up, snap this there, boom, and now you've got the mounting bracket on the bottom there, versus now it's built in, and you can make it flat, put it somewhere like this, versus having to take this out. And then once you have this unlocked on the bottom, you just simply place it inside the mount like that, and go ahead and thread the screw in, and you're good to go. It works with all existing GoPro mounts. It's all the same, so no problems there. With all that said, I'm gonna go take the sticker off right here. Maybe take the sticker off. There we go. Put it on the bag and power this baby up. By the way, on the side here, while we're waiting on that, that is the USB-C port that you put this in there. There's no longer an HDMI port. In order to get the HDMI port, you have to pay for the Media Mod, which is a $79 accessory that's coming later on this year, December, hopefully. And we'll go ahead and get the menu started up. So press yes for English. Legal stuff, that's a very accurate description. Turn on GPS, that way you get the overlays of like speed and stuff like that. And then grab out your phone and go ahead and start running through the setup. Okay, so we'll go in the upper right hand corner and press the plus button to find a new GoPro. It'll go and hopefully find that GoPro. There we go. Connect my camera. Would you like to pair it? Yep, pretty straightforward here. It beeps over here. And now we should be done. That should be it there. I'm gonna call this Hero 8 Black number 3. Done. Save new name. And by the way, in case it's not obvious at this point in the video, this is definitely not a sponsored video. These are media loaner units. I've already got orders in to buy my own units, so these will go back to GoPro like all media loaner units do. So click on Let's Go, and now it's going to join the network via Wi-Fi. And there we go. Now it's going to see a preview, so you can go ahead and you can see the cameras right out there looking at you, and I can see what's going on right here. It's relatively quick. It's maybe like half a second delay, give or take. So not too shabby. Now, for the most part, the app is exactly the same as in the past. The difference is now they've consolidated the GoPro Quick functionality. That's the video editing functionality in this app, so it's all one cohesive story. They've also added Horizon Lock, which I talk about in my video up there in the corner. I'm going to walk through all the camera settings now, so I'm going to quickly reposition this whole tripod rig so it's a little bit closer up view, and we're just going to stay on that for the entire rest of the video and just kind of talk settings and stuff. So here we are on the back of the camera. In the bottom there we have what are called the capture presets. So if you tap this right there, you'll see the different capture presets, so standard, activity, slow-mo, cinematic. If you dive into one of these right there, for example, standard, you can change the resolution. Very similar to what we did in the past. Go ahead and tap that there. You can change the digital lens. So do you want, for example, super view or wide? You'll see it changes these automatically there. The view that you can see the stuff in the background as to what is or isn't shown anymore depending on that particular view. Click on back there. If we go into the settings again, you scroll on down, you'll find, well, first there's Hyper Boost over there, or Hyper Smooth, sorry, and there's Boost is the top option. And as you go down the list there, you see High, which is kind of the standard Hyper Smooth 2.0. And then below that, you see On, which is basically Hyper Smooth 1.0. And then down below there, you see Off entirely. So I'm gonna go back to Boost for now. And then below this is Pro Tune. Now previously Pro Tune, you turned all off with one toggle, and then you adjusted each individual setting individually. And technically speaking, this isn't really any different, except that now you can adjust those individual settings without feeling like you had to turn everything on or off. So it's more of just simplification than really anything else. And you go on down here, let's see, down to on-screen controls. And what these are this back here. So these 4 controls, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are customizable. So right now, this turns on slow-mo. You'll see it switch to 120 frames per second, turn it off, 60 frames per second. Over here is the digital lenses. So up at the top there, super view, wide, linear, and narrow. And this makes it super easy to just change these on the fly. So I'm really loving that feature there. Boost over here, blue equals boost, no blue, no boost. So in this case, it's set on, so I can't really turn it off, but that's fine. And then down here, zoom, if I wasn't in the wide setting. So anyways, the point being, back to the settings, for every single one of these capture profiles here, you can go ahead and customize those 4 shortcuts. So instead of that zoom on the bottom right-hand side, we can change that to any one of these different things. So we can turn it off, we can change the lens, HyperSmooth, low light, clips, shutter, EV comp, white balance. All the Pro Tune options are basically there, and you can just change them. So we could just change that right now to, just call it bitrate for the fun. So something totally random. Go back here, back to there, and you can see this turns on high bitrate in basically 2 touches. So kind of cool option there. In the bottom here, if we go back into the device or capture profile, sorry, we can create our own. So we can choose this bottom option right there. I'm sorry, missed that one. There we go, hit the plus. We can choose what settings we want. So I'm gonna create like a DSLR kind of clean setup. I would mix with the content of my DSLR camera. I'm gonna go 4K 30, hit that. I'm gonna change this to linear down here. There we go. HyperSmooth, I can go up to boost on that. We'll talk about boost and linear and stuff in just a second here. Pro Tune, for fun, I'm gonna go into the bitrate at high, so right there, choose high on this one. And then I think that's all I really want for right now. I'm good with everything else there. Click this, and this is where you can choose the exact icon and kind of what you want to assign to it. So these are just random. There's a whole bunch of ones you can put in here. I don't know of any way to create your own icon. So I'm just gonna call this one Epic though. There we go, up there. Tap that. And then we're ready to go. We can just simply press record, and it'll be recording that image just like it normally would from a GoPro standpoint. So nothing too complicated there. We can swipe up now to view our existing footage. So I can press play on that one right there to play that one. You can hear that. And then over here, if I go to this, I can choose the media that's on this particular card. So just a little bit ago, I was shooting a bunch of photos to try to get this thing up the stairs. So you can see all these shots here, and it kind of iterates through those up the stairs. But that's just, again, very similar to what you've seen in the past. By similar, I mean it's exactly the same as far as I can tell. So a couple of the things I want to note here is 4K and linear mode and which frame rates work and don't work. So right now, let's go back to this Epic one for the fun of it. And you'll see 4K 30, linear, and boost. So watch what happens when I go up to 4K 60 there. So I change that. This goes back to wide, and this goes to HyperSmooth on. So if I go here, this is the highest I can choose now for this particular setting. Now, I was talking to GoPro about this just this morning or last night, it was really late, as to why this doesn't go to boost. And they said that's probably not going to change. That'll probably stay HyperSmooth 2.0, but it's this next piece that will change. So watch what happens here when I go to linear. So I go back to linear here, and this goes, I got to turn this up to 60, and it keeps on changing to make things fit. But if I turn HyperSmooth off entirely, there we go, and go to linear there, now I can keep 4K 60 linear, but there's no HyperSmooth. And this is sort of not what they said in their advertising, where they said every frame rate and every resolution, and this is clearly not the case there. Still, in talking to them this morning though, this is gonna come an update in November. So that's the big news in this video, if you stayed this far into it, is that in November, you'll be able to turn HyperSmooth on for 4K 60 linear mode. Again, 4K 30, no problems with HyperSmooth. We go back to that there, in linear mode, in fact. So HyperSmooth, 4K linear, over here, we can now turn this on. We can even go all the way up to boost if we want to, no issues. So, done on the video side of stuff. Let me go back over to photos to show you a couple things there. Photos here, this is where I do live burst. So click this button right there. Again, the same kind of modes, and you'll see the live burst option right there. There we go. And now I'm gonna move my hand across this slowly as I take a picture at the midpoint. So here we go. And what you'll see has happened is if I swipe up here, it's taken essentially a small video. So watch. So here we go. And so from a GoPro standpoint, this is actually a video, but when you get on the GoPro app, you can then choose the exact frame you want and export it out as a single photo. So very similar to live photos on iOS, same concept here as well. Last but not least, on the new stuff, there is the new night lapse mode. So you go to time lapse, again, that choose the same thing here, night lapse. And then this is where you can go and you can configure the settings for night lapse like previous. There's also, or night lapse like any other time lapse. So you can go to this here, for example, choose whether you want it to be photos, or your auto interval. So you can choose, how many seconds between things. I just choose auto, and it's been working out pretty darn well for me. And again, the difference between this and a time lapse, a photo time lapse, is this creates a video. And so if you look at my comparison footage reel, you'll see that side by side between night lapse photo and night lapse video, and video just looks a heck of a lot cooler. The other change here is time warp. So if I tap this right there, you see there's a new speed option for auto, versus previously you had to choose which particular setting you wanted there within that range. And so I found auto works pretty good if it's a relatively short clip, but if you're going for like a half an hour or something, then I would just kick it up to something a lot faster. And so in my case, because this tells you for every 5 minutes of recording time, we'll create a 10-second audio clip, or sorry, 10-second video clip there. One little tidbit to show you, if you swipe down here, there's a new grid. So I've had it on this entire time, but I can turn the grid off and you'll see there's no lines there. Go back over here and swipe up again, turn it on. Now you got the lines there for alignment. So I found it pretty handy. Okay, I think that wraps just about everything up here. One quick note on this, you can create up to 10 profiles and you can also adjust the ordering them here. So you can move this by tapping this up and you can just change the ordering so that's what you want. You can also delete the ones that you've created in the past and you can reset them. If you've dwarfed or something, you're not really sure what you did, press this little button right there and that'll restore that profile to its original defaults. Okay, there you go, a complete look at the GoPro Hero 8 Black. Hope you found this video interesting or useful. Don't forget the video is linked up in the corner that I've mentioned like 28 times in this video. Have a good one.